we've got Drew Carey back there. What kind of applause was that? Come on, let's hear it. Thank you. My name is Keith Traylens. I'm the CEO of Kamikaze Entertainment. I want to thank you all for coming. Drew Carey is about to walk out on the stage, but before he does, we have a little special guest for you guys. Who watches Price is Right? So we've got a couple friends who are going to come on stage and join us for just a moment. We have Rachel here. We have Manuela here. And we have someone else here. He's got a very, very distinct voice. I wonder what he might say. But I'm going to guess you guys have been dying to hear him say it. Please say hello to Rachel, Manuela, and George Gray, the announcer of The Price is Right. Come on up, guys.
Uh-oh, there it is, now it is. Hey, Keith. Everybody feeling good? That was terrible. That was like a Jeopardy response. Is everybody feeling good? That's way better. How about a nice round of applause for the beautiful Rachel Reynolds and Manuela Arbelives? Let's face it, they make me look a lot better. All right, we're here for one very specific reason, and that's to make an introduction right now. He's one of our good buddies. He also happens to be the host of The Price is Right. Drew Carey, come on down!
Hi, everybody. That was worth you guys coming down here for that. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Where do you want to do this?
We'll sit right here.
Mr. Carey, please.
Okay, good. Hi, Drew. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
That was to you. He knows how I'm doing. Drew Carey, our 2017 comedy legend. The comedy legend is to recognize the people who are working in the comedy industry, who are affiliated with the geek arts, as I like to say, who have really made an impact. It's made an impact on us. I'm sure it's made an impact on you. That's why you guys are here. Ready to jump into some questions?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. We polled a whole bunch of people, and the most popular question that everyone wants to know is, what do you think about like Comic-Con? Look at it right in front of you. What do you think?
It's great. We're here to buy some comics and sell some comics. Am I right? Make some dough. It's great. We have a Halloween show coming up on Tuesday on The Price is Right it airs, and we all dressed up as superheroes.
And so who'd you dress up as?
I'm Captain Giveaway. We had to make up our own superheroes. So I was Captain Giveaway, and I have like epaulets, and I have like a eye patch, Price is Right eye patch. And Manuela was Manuela Transmission. She was dressed up like a car. Rachel was Yoda the Gal, and George was the Plinkster.
Wow.
He had like a Riddler type of suit on.
Yeah, you know, you guys should have had Stan Lee create those for you.
I know. Well, we got to do it ourselves. That's why they'll never be popular.
Well, now you know somebody because Stan's in the building. We can,
yeah, I know. I got to have my picture taken with him. I was really excited.
Is that amazing?
Actually, I got my picture taken with Stan Lee, and then I was like, I'm out of here. I want to just leave the building. That's all I came here for. Yeah, comedy legend. I just wanted to meet Stan Lee and beat it.
So now, if you are a Stan Lee fan and you want to meet Stan, I'm assuming that you've read comic books. Are they part of your life?
Yeah, when I was 12 years old, I got a job. My first job was a paper boy. I delivered to the Plain Dealer, and I just told him I never ever got to deliver papers, but the paper guy comes around to collect your share after you collect all the money. And a couple times I got in trouble because I would take all my money and I would blow it on comic books and then Mad Magazine. I would buy Mad Magazine and then Cracked and Sick, and then a bunch of Marvel comics, a couple DC ones, but mostly Marvel. You know.
We like to hear that. We like
yeah.
So who was your favorite? What was your comic book jam?
When I was little, I liked Spider-Man. Marvel was just like hipper, and DC was like a little old. I don't know. This at the time was a little better. So I like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Captain America. I really liked. You know, all those guys.
So who are we going to see you as in the Marvel Cinematic Universe known as the MCU?
Man, I don't know. You tell me.
Who do you guys think you should be?
I think can I just be Drew Carey?
Probably. Probably, yeah. The Avengers meet Drew Carey. Who wouldn't want to see that, right?
Just be myself in the comic books.
Drew Carey and Black Widow.
Sure. Why not?
So let's talk a little bit more about being a little nerdy. What other part of the nerd arts influence you beyond just comic books?
Well, like I said, Mad Magazine was the biggest comic influence on me, and then Cracked and Sick in that order. If you guys can find some old Cracked and Sick magazines, they're pretty good. And I still read Mad Magazine to this day. I have a subscription, I read it at the Price is Right during the break. There's always a Mad magazine that I still do the fold-in. To me, that was one of the most influential comedy magazines of all time, especially in the early days. I don't think you can find a comedy writer alive that's working now, and The Simpsons or wherever, that wasn't influenced by Mad magazine when they were growing up. So, we were just talking backstage. I have an HTC Vive at home set up. I have the, I like VR games. I don't play a lot of Xbox. The stuff I do play on Xbox and stuff is all, sports games. Like I play FIFA and stuff like that.
There's some FIFA fans.
Go Sounders! Yeah, I own part of a soccer team in Seattle called the Seattle Sounders. They have their first playoff game tomorrow, so wish them luck.
Wow, they have great uniforms.
Yeah, they do. They have
really
Xbox uniforms. That's our sponsor.
And so, video games. Is there any particular genre that you love? Is there something that you just like? Oh, like Mad Max, I gotta watch it, or
well,
like
that?
If
you went to I have a lot of weird. Like, if you went to my office at my house, I have a home office, and if you look about lining my whole office is I have action dolls. I have a lot of G.I. Joes, I have Barbies, Kens, G.I. Joes, special edition Barbies with all the, I have a Joan Jett Barbie, When I met Joan Jett, I forgot to take the Barbie to have her sign it like an idiot. So I have I have a big collection of that kind of stuff, and I have a whole box of old G.I. Joes and stuff that I saved.
Well, so absolutely collect. How many of you out there are collectors? Exactly. And I love, by the way, that you said you collect Barbies because
one to keep, one to trade, one to play with.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Barbies is a big thing. People don't appreciate the trade value of Barbies, but
yeah, there's some really cool. I like I have all the. I like the special edition ones. I have the Wizard of Oz Barbies, and I have there's one that's from the birds. It has all the birds attacking her.
Like Tippi Hedren.
And I have my own. When I was on the Drew Carey show, they came out with a Drew Carey doll and a Mimi doll. So I have the Drew Carey and the Mimi doll up there, which was odd, to tell you the truth, to see your own doll.
But that's appropriate though, I think, because you're a collector, you should have your own thing. Well, let's use that as a segue to talk about your career for a little bit.
Okay.
So your sitcom, I feel, was very accessible to the average Joe. It had a bit of a nerd angle to it, right? Was that intentional?
No, when we first started the show, I told him, I said, I just want to imagine what my life would be like if I never got into stand-up comedy. I'd probably be some kind of middle manager. So I was working as a waiter, so I would have probably ended up as a restaurant manager, and then I might have segued into working someplace else in some office somewhere. Maybe if I got tired of working in restaurants, I'd probably be like a restaurant manager right now or something like that if I wasn't a comic.
I would go to that restaurant.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's going to be a wacky restaurant.
I wouldn't, but the way I did business.
But you're a true multi-hyphenate. I want to talk a little bit about, you've done something that I haven't seen, and I think most people haven't seen, which is that first you were a stand-up, right, and you had immense success there. Then you went and conquered the sitcom world. Then you went and you introduced and mainstreamed improv comedy. Improv is such a huge thing now, and I think it's because of you bringing Whose Line over from England,
okay.
right? And then you go on this little show called The Price is Right,
I know.
and it was always cool, but you just made it even cooler.
Oh, thanks.
So my question to you is there anybody out there that is that diverse and committed to trying new things at an extremely high level that influenced you? Anybody that you're like, oh yeah, I want to go down that path, and you've done it?
I've always had a philosophy of taking risks no matter what. And I want to, you only have one life to live, so if an opportunity presents itself and it's fun, I might as well do it. I'll tell you the story about Whose Line, how it came to be, if you want to hear about it.
Absolutely, let's hear it.
So I did the Drew Carey show with Ryan Stiles, who's one of the best improvers in the whole wide world. And he would do local shows, and Dietrich Bader and Kathy Kinney, they would all go, oh, we have the rest of the cast. They go, oh, what did you do last night? We always saw Ryan out in Santa Monica or wherever doing improv. It was so funny, you had to come sometime. And I would work a lot. I would work during rehearsals, I would work the Drew Carey show, and then I would go to the writer's room at night to work with the writers, and then I would work on the days off. I would go to the writer's room. So I was kind of burned out all the time. I was working 60 hours a week, the minimum, gusts up to 80, depending on how bad things were going or how busy we were. So I was working a lot, and I just didn't feel like going out all that much. But then I knew Ryan did improv, and he was really good at it, and people did with him. And all the other people on the Drew Carey show had some kind of improv background. Like Ian Gomez used to teach improv, had done improv. Kathy Kinney used to do improv. Dietrich Bader had done a little bit of it. Krista Miller, not so much. but she was game. And I had this idea. I didn't think the Drew Carey show got any respect when I was on the air, to tell you the truth. Like, nobody ever thought, we got okay reviews, but not great reviews. It wasn't like a must-see TV show. And critics liked it, but they didn't love it. And the rating, we won our time slot, we got good ratings, but it wasn't like a #1 show ever. So, but we were good. We held our own, I'm proud of it. But I was thinking, it always like bugged me. So I thought, oh, I want to do something cool that nobody else could do. So I was still doing stand-up a little bit, but I got tired of my act and I didn't have time to write any new jokes. So all my writing went to the show. So I went to the Improv on Melrose, and I said to them, would you mind if I brought the Drew Carey show cast here on Thursdays to do improv? Like would be an imposition. And they said no, bring them down. So I went to the cast and said, hey, you guys want to do improv at the Improv on Thursday nights? Wednesday was our table reading, and Thursday was a good night for us to go down there. It was like a really easy day for us. And they said yes. So we started going there and that was my FU to all the other shows that were on TV at the time. Because I just wanted to be able to do something like, hey, our cast is funny, we don't need writers. We're just going to show up on our own to be funny, and that's how funny our cast is. I bet the cast of your show can't do that without your writers to back you up. And that was like me having this stupid chip on my shoulder. Was when we started doing improv there. And then the more we did it, they taught me everything that I knew about, that I was going to learn about improv by doing improv at the Improv on Thursday nights. And it was a big night. We would sell it out all the time. I would get up and do like 10 minutes of stand-up, 15 minutes of stand-up. Then we'd do like 45 minutes of improv, and it was always, it was a big scene there every Thursday. They always have like the best comics would show up and try to get sets like before or right after us because it was such a big night. And I was talking to Ryan, then I was reading an article about how bad summertime was for networks. And I thought, oh, we should do a summertime version of Whose Line Is It Anyway? That'll give that'll be something fun to do. It'll give the network staff something. So I brought it up to Ryan. I said, would you want to do a Whose Line Is It Anyway? Like it's a summertime replacement show on ABC. He said, yeah, that'd be fun. Dan Patterson is in town trying to sell it. Dan Patterson originally created Whose Line Is It Anyway for BBC Radio in England, and then he was the producer for the BBC version of Whose Line, and then he's the one that produced the one we brought it to America. And he was trying to sell it, and nobody was buying it. They didn't want to use Ryan or Colin, because they thought Ryan was too goofy looking and Colin was too old. Like the two funniest guys on the show. They were like, well, we'd love to do the show, but not those guys. And they wanted to have like, they had and he was having a really hard time selling it as the original concept because they wanted to screw with it and mess it up. So we got Dan Patterson to come see us do improv on Thursday night at the Improv, and he liked it, and we talked to him at the bar, and he said, oh, you could do a thing with the guys after the show and do like a special host thing where you could come down. I went, well, that's a good idea. And then right there at the bar at the Improv, we decided to do it together.
Wow.
And then we had to get the ABC execs to come down and see us do improv. So like a few weeks later, they came down and they watched us do improv, and we handed them DVDs, the original Whose Line show. And I think a month later, they bought the show, and that was it.
Wow.
But it was all from us. It was all from me having this chip on my shoulder about not getting enough respect for the Drew Carey show that started this whole thing.
Goes to show you, if you have a chip on your shoulder, you're going to do something good, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
That was great. That was, and you know, you've.
Sometimes a lot of good ideas and the best things you're going to do in your life are just you going, oh yeah, you think I can't? Watch me do this. And you have this drive of overcoming people, telling you can't do something, or telling you you're not good enough. And you go, oh yeah, you think I'm not good enough? Watch me. And then you just shut down and transform yourself. And that's kind of what it was.
Well, it looks like you've done that again and again at an extremely high level. And while doing it,
I beat myself up a lot. That's why.
a lot of the big creatives, and I think a lot of the most successful people do.
Yeah.
And you've also, it's not just you, and part of the reason why we reached out to you and we're so excited to have you is that you've introduced a lot of other people into the world, from Wayne to Craig Ferguson.
I don't want to take, I know, people say that, but I can't take credit for that because I didn't cast Craig Ferguson on the Drew Carey show like somebody else did. We already had, like, Bruce Helford was the showrunner for the Drew Carey show, and they're the one, I didn't get that involved in casting, like I would read with people, but I was at rehearsal and they would go off and go to these big casting sessions, so they're the one that cast, Dan Patterson is the one you should thank for Wayne Brady. Like people say, oh, you had Wayne Brady discovered. Like I didn't. Dan Patterson did. I was just the host. Wayne Brady was on the show, and you can thank Wayne Brady because Wayne Brady was so funny. I told this to Wayne. I said, you would have been famous he's one of those guys that would have been famous with or without Who's Line. He's just one of those guys that's driven and has so much talent you can't hold him back. So I would like to take credit, but I can't. I just happen to be on the same show that they were on.
And now he's your lead-in in the mornings.
I know. It's crazy.
Which is kind of cool,
It's
right?
crazy that we all became game show hosts. It's like the weirdest thing.
Well, again, following in your footsteps, I think that you're a trailblazer, and I want you to be recognized that, right?
When I first got the offered, I was retired from the Drew Carey show, and I didn't want to. Retired. They canceled me, and I decided I would just retire. And I was like, I have money. I don't have to work. I'm just going to enjoy my life. And I wasn't going to do anything unless it was fun or interesting to me. And this guy knew Michael Davies. He's a big famous producer. Used to work for ABC. He does Men in Blazers now, a show about soccer. And anyway, he had an idea for a TV show called Power of 10, where the top prize would be $10 million. And I worked with him once on this show called the Pepsi $1 Billion Giveaway. It was a one-time special for ABC where they were going to give away $1 billion.
I dreamed of winning that billion.
Yeah.
Did you guys
and
play it?
he knew me from that, and he knew me from hosting Who's Line, and he thought I'd be a good host for this show. And I was totally off everybody's radar at the time. And he said, hey, would you like to do that show? And I just got interested in soccer at the time, and David Beckham was going to be coming to the LA Galaxy. This is before I was involved with the Sounders. And I was like, well, I'd like to. It sounds interesting, but David Beckham just got signed. I don't want to miss any games. And he's from England. He said, we'll work the whole schedule around David Beckham. I said, don't worry about it. So I'm one of the only producers that understands soccer, love of soccer. I'll make sure you don't miss any games. And I had to go out to New York every once in a while. After I did the pilot in New York, I guess CBS must have, that got me back on CBS's radar because I'd done this pilot. And I've been taking acting lessons because I thought, it'd be nice, maybe I could do some movies every once in a while, some small roles. I'm already done. I thought it'd be fun to do a movie every once in a while. So I was taking acting lessons. And I remember I went out to the park, me and my ex, we stopped at we went on a driving trip from New York after the pilot, and I was down in the North Carolina someplace, we had a Cracker Barrel, and I forgot my phone. So I went out to the car to get my phone, it was still plugged in. And I got a message from my agent. I called him. I go, what's up? He goes, I just got the most interesting call from CBS Casting. That's how he started. And right away, I thought, oh my goodness, I've been taking acting lessons. They must want me to do a CSI or some kind of drama.
NCIS Cleveland.
Yeah, how flattering that I'd be able to do this thing, that I could show my drama chops. And that was in my head. And he goes, how would you like to take over for Bob Barker hosting The Price is Right? And I was like, what? That old man's show? That show that what? I'm not hosting that stupid show. No. And I was really super, that dismissive of it. Where I was like, what? No way. So I thought acting, drama, and Price is Right over that. And then I went in and I told my ex, I was like, can't believe what blah, blah, blah. I was like this. And then the show got picked up, and I was back in LA. I'm at Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, where I used to hang out. And I get another call from my agent, and he goes, hey, CBS Casting called again. I go, yeah. And he goes, they still want you to do Price is Right. And I was like, oh, well, I'm kind of in business with them now. I should take a meeting just to be polite. And they said, yeah, you really should. It'd be nice of you. So I said, okay. So I took a meeting with head of CBS Daytime, Barbara Bloom, one of the producers, Sid Vintage, that doesn't work there, but he was one of the producers of Price is Right, and the head of CBS, president of CBS, at some place on Sunset. We all had soft drinks. Sid Vintage had a beer. And by the end of the meeting, I wanted to be the host of The Price is Right.
Wow. And that was 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, they totally, a little over that. And they convinced me, I tried to look for a website, there really wasn't one. They had it looked like a GeoCities page on CBS. It had the really bad drop-down menus, or it was like a where you would hit it and the whole thing would actually drop down. This was really old, awful menus they used to have. This is before they bought CNET and changed everything. But yeah, I didn't know that much about the show, only from watching it a little bit. And so they convinced me, and here's the line that convinced me. Sid Vintage, he's got half a beer, and he goes, what's your favorite thing to do in life? And I said, well, I like to leave big tips. I really do. I'll tip $100 for a cup of coffee. And he said, well, you get to do that every day if you're the host of The Price is Right. And I thought, oh, you're right. I get to be there giving away stuff to people, and that would be the best way to make a living. And it's not my money. That's the best thing about it. I don't care how much we give away on The Price is Right. I hope they take us for everything, because it's not my dough. It doesn't come out of my paycheck. So yeah, win $100,000, win a car, I don't care. Take it all. I really love it when people win. It's like I'm encouraging people to loot.
And it comes through, right? The enthusiasm for it. You are always on whoever is active side, always.
Yeah, well, you know what? I tell people my whole life has prepared me for Price is Right, because I used to be stone broke. Like one time in Vegas, I had to give plasma. I lived in Vegas for a while. I had to give plasma to get money to eat. I got $40, and I hadn't eaten in like a day and a half, or it'd been a whole day, when I was like, damn, I don't even have like a nickel in my pocket. I literally didn't have any change in my pocket. I got no job, I got to do something. There was this plasma place, and they paid $40 to give plasma. So I walked in there, and they asked me when the last time I ate, and I said yesterday. So they gave me $5 in advance so I could go to 7-Eleven and get a burrito, so I couldn't give blood on the stomach. Then I came back, and this like shaky doctor like examined me, and I thought like $40, I could do this every day. This is great. And they told me I couldn't go back for 6 weeks or something, so that was the end of that plan. But I was so broke. So when somebody wins Price is Right, and even if they only win like, I don't know, they might win like sunglasses, you know, big deal. Well, it'd be like $800 worth of sunglasses. They might win like something. They might win only like Playco. They might win $1,500 and not $50,000. But that's a lot of money. Yeah. And I haven't lost track, even though I'm rich now. I haven't lost track of how much $1,500 is or $1,000 is. So I really relate to them winning that money, because I can put myself in their shoes easily about how broke I was and how happy I would be if somebody. I always tell people when they only win like $1,500 or $1,000 only. I say, you know, it's not, you didn't win $50,000, but if you won $1,000 on a scratcher today, you wouldn't shut up about it. Like you would be telling all your friends, oh, my $1,000, you'd be buying everybody dinner. So it's always a good thing.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out here. I've seen you in backstage. I said that we've interacted a couple of times previously.
They used to interview me when I was on ABC.
Yes, and you've always been, you've been so humble. You've shown so much humility and that Midwest thing, and it's still there.
Well, I'm humble because every show I've been on, I'm not the most talented person. But on Who's Line, everybody else was funnier than me. On the Drew Carey show, everybody on the cast was great. And as long as my theory was, as long as everybody else got laughs, the show was funny. I never cared if I got the laugh or not.
This is what I'm talking about.
I think I'm humble. I think I'm just smart.
People, you are smart, but people would disagree with you that you're not the most talented person either. And I think that's one of the reasons why all these people are here and why I'm grateful that you're here. I'll be honest, I was worried that you were going to say no to us because I know you don't care about awards and things like that.
I don't care about awards.
It's
like comedy legend, I kind of embarrassed. Like, you know, Jerry Lewis is a comedy legend. You know what I mean? To me, I don't think Ed Norton. That's a comedy legend.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you are now too, whether you like it or not.
Okay, good. Fine.
And I want to go off. Yes, give him a round of applause.
Fine. Okay.
Because you've contributed to the comedy and geek landscape simultaneously in a way that most people don't. And I want to go off script for one thing. I believe you're also that you also served in the military. Yeah?
I was in the Marine Corps Reserves in the '80s.
But still, that matters.
And I kept the commies out of Ohio. So you're welcome.
Kidding aside, with everything that's going on here, I think everyone agree. That's what makes you a real hero. You put your
I didn't do anything. I swear I didn't do anything. I went to boot camp, I went to school, and once a month I got my hair cut.
He signed up. That means something, right? Let him hear it.
I needed a job.
Right there.
I signed up because I needed a job. Oh, what's up, brother? Semper Fi, man. Oh, thanks, brother. I'll take it. Got a coin for me? Thanks, man.
Look
God
at
bless you. Semper Fi, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's a big thing, getting coins from people.
On behalf of everybody here, I want to say thank you. We're going to let you go. You've got some other things to do. The Price is Right. It's the 45th anniversary. Do I have that? Or
yeah,
50th?
45th anniversary of the show. My start of my 11th year, and our Halloween episode is on Tuesday. It's really fun.
Don't miss it. Let's hear it for Mr. Drew Carey.
Thanks, everybody.
Drew, thank you.